I see on the American Academy of Adoption Attorneys that you do interstate adoptions. Could you tell us about Rathert Law's experience with interstate adoptions?
Yes, we do many interstate adoptions. The vast majority of them are Michigan to another state. So very, very often I'm representing a couple in another state, in Colorado, in California, in Illinois, in Indiana, and the child goes from Michigan to that state. And in that case, Michigan would be considered the sending state, and let's say Illinois would be considered the receiving state. But we do have to get approval from the ICPC, that's the Interstate Compact on Placement of Children, in both states.
And how is it determined in which state the adoption will happen, or which rules will be in effect? I understand there's many different rules that different states adhere to.
Well, that is mostly dependent on which state the adoption is done in. The example that I am most familiar with is doing the adoption in Michigan, and then the Michigan rules generally will apply. So, for example, the Michigan rules on reimbursement of living expenses, which are fairly liberal, they would apply. So we can provide living expenses for the birth mother from the time the adoption plan is decided upon until 6 weeks after birth.
And so in general, are Michigan's adoption laws more favorable than other states?
I would say they are very favorable. There are other states that are also favorable, but Michigan is very adoption friendly. And often when we're dealing with a Michigan birth mother, we have to be concerned about Child Protective Services, CPS, because the birth mother has a past history of neglect and abuse with children, and so we often have to make sure that CPS doesn't come in and take the child, and we are very good at that, and we do that all the time.
I see. And so some of these are long distance adoptions where if the adoptive couple is in California, let's say, and the child is being adopted in Michigan, what is the logistics of that? Are there long distance phone calls, or do they have to travel here for an extended period of time to complete the adoption?
Generally, they don't have to stay in Michigan very long. Generally, it's only about 3 or 4 days after release from the hospital, because our ICPC office is very quick.